Before starting to use your accounts payable module, you'll want to set up your vendors that you'll be paying in the future. To do so, we're going to go to AP and choose vendors. You can also go under inventory if you have the inventory module, and there's also vendors there as well. In the vendors screen, it's much like setting up a customer. The only information you have to type in is a name. There is a second name line, so if there's a particular department or section of the company, you can add that, or if they have a couple different names, you can put that in. You then want to, of course, fill in the address information, any phone information. The account number over in the right there, that is your account number with that particular vendor. So you can fill that in. Contact person, the vendor's tax ID number. You can select the terms for that particular vendor. Now, of course, if you haven't set those up yet, you'll want to do that under Admin and Configuration. The vendor type normally is not needed. The only time you would set up a vendor type is if this is an auto glass vendor and you're purchasing auto glass from them. You would want to probably go ahead and select whether they were auto preferred or auto alternate. It really doesn't matter, even if they aren't your preferred vendor. If you set it to auto preferred, that's fine. You just want to pick one of the auto ones. The order method, again, you're not normally going to select that except for any auto glass vendors that you purchase auto glass from that you're going to be ordering online through your Main Street software. And you'll probably want to get with your Main Street tech support rep before setting all that up, so they can help you set this up. But typically, if you are going to order online from that vendor, you can choose online, and then the vendors that we currently do online ordering with would be Migrant, Pilkington, PPG, and then Guardian. So those are the only four. And again, you'll want to talk to your Main Street tech support person. Email address can be filled in. In the top right there, we have a checkbox for 1099. So if you have somebody that you're having do some contract labor work with you, that they occasionally do some windshield repairs for you or do some installations for you, and they're not an employee, but you may need to print a 1099 for them at the end of the year, you'll want to check the 1099 box, and then there is a 1099 report that can be run. The separate remit is for when you're cutting a check to the vendor. Normally on the check stub, it will print the invoice numbers of all the invoices that are being paid by that check, and you can fit 30 invoice numbers on a stub. So if you're paying more than 30 invoices, when it prints a check, it will print all those invoices on the stub, then it will void that check, and then it will go to the next check to be able to print the rest of the invoice numbers and print the second check. Obviously, if there's more than 30 on that second check, it would void it until it can finally get them all on there. For one of your auto glass vendors that you're buying a lot of glass from throughout the month that you may be paying for a lot of invoices, you may want to set that separate remit to yes, and then when it prints the check on the check stub, it will just say see separate remittance, and then it will print out to plain paper a remittance form. The pay method, you can choose to check, EFT, or credit card. So this is how you would normally pay this vendor. However, if on a particular occasion you pay them by a different method, you'll be able to change that method for that particular payment for the vendor without having to change it in the vendor file here. The connection profile section, you won't do anything with that. That would be something that would be set up by a Main Street tech person if needed. In the middle there, we've got where you can add in notes and or instructions, and you can have those notes print if you'd like, and on the instructions you can have those pop up whenever you put that vendor on a ticket so that it prompts what those instructions are. And then if you're using the full accounting software with the general ledger, down in the default account section, you normally would leave the amount at zero, but if there's a particular general ledger account that you would be posting payments to for that vendor, you can then put in that particular account. And then whenever you go to create an invoice in accounts payable and you put that vendor in, that account would be there. And of course, you can go down to the next line and you can put in as many different accounts as you like. And as I said, the amount, you normally would just leave that at zero. If this vendor, you always pay the same amount every time you pay them, you could fill in that amount. However, something like that, which would be like rent or a car payment, typically you'd want to set up a recurring invoice in your accounts payable section for that. So you would set up that amount in that area. So you normally wouldn't need to do that here either. But you can put that in if you'd like. Once you have all of the information filled in that you'd like to for that particular vendor, simply go up to the top and choose Save. And now that vendor's information is in the system, you can of course edit it at any time. And to add in another vendor, you would just need to of course hit New and add in your next vendor.